Should I hide what's going to happen? I'm going to share with Abraham what I'm about to do. I'm going to probably destroy these two cities called Sodom and Gomorrah because I'm hearing and getting reports that there's just a lot of wickedness and evil there. And so Abraham, you kind of, I don't know, picture them standing, maybe they can see the towns below, and Abraham says, are you going to kill them all? Like, the wicked and the righteous? Like, even the good people? I mean, what if there's 50 good people there? And God says, no, if I find 50 righteous, good people there, I won't destroy it. And then they just kind of do this whole back and forth where Abraham says, well, what about 45? No. I'm really sorry, but what about 30, 20, 10, and finally God says, no, if I find 10 there, I won't destroy it. And then it just says that the Lord was done, and he left. By the way, do you know what happens to Sodom and Gomorrah?
Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed.
They are. If you see the next thing, he ends up destroying Sodom and Gomorrah, and we can only assume that he didn't find 10 people there. We're going to come back to this passage and challenge you guys a little bit to kind of look at it a little bit closer. But here's, I don't know if you've ever asked this question. Have you ever asked that question before, or wondered about it, or thought about it? Does prayer really work? Just me.
Yes.
I know. I know. Even non-Christians, probably a lot of people have thought about this question. Does it really work? In fact, they did a scientific study of it. This is actually 6 years ago.
How did you?
Well, they did it with a hospital. They had 1,800 patients, and then they had people who were praying for them. So I don't know how they controlled everything, but they wanted to see, did it make a difference? Did their healing go quicker? Was their healing better if they were praying? Or did it really make no difference whatsoever? What do you think they found?
Nothing.
Nothing? They did find something.
The people who were prayed for either healed quicker or healed.
So the people who were prayed for, so prayer made a difference. Is that what you're saying? Man, I wish that were the case, but it wasn't.
Nothing happened.
It's not that nothing happened. They actually determined some of those patients were worse off. Not only did prayer not make a positive difference, it actually made a little bit of a negative difference. And so you're left, their answer to this, does prayer really work, was a resounding scientifically, no. We have nothing scientifically that showed prayer made any difference in their life whatsoever. And so I've asked this question, does prayer really work? And since I have, I'm going to be bold in saying it's really an ignorant, stupid question to ask. For this reason, this is how we defined prayer a couple weeks ago. We said prayer is just talking to God. Do you remember that? Now, we added to it this part. So here's my definition right now. Prayer is a conversation with God in which we express our love and need for God. That's what we talked about last time. If it's a good prayer, those are the two items you want to get across. God, I love you, and I need you. And just the act of praying communicates that. All right? Almost no matter what you say, it's going to communicate, I love you and I need you, which is probably one of the reasons you're stopping to pray. And do you remember we had the Pharisee and the tax collector? Do you remember that? And God honored the one who said, God, I'm a sinner, and I need you. And that's the one God said, that's a good prayer. Now, back to this. If prayer is a conversation, what does whether it works or not have anything to do with that? In other words, if you were saying to someone, over this past weekend, it was really cool, I got to talk with a whole bunch of friends, and someone said, oh yeah? Did it work? What do you, like, that doesn't even make sense. Are you with, like, what do you mean did it work? We talked, but did it work? I don't know if it worked. There was nothing to work. We were talking. There was a conversation. What is there to work or not? And so that's why I think just on the very surface, the question is just totally wrong. It just doesn't even make sense to ask whether prayer works or not, because it's a conversation you're having with God. Does that make sense? Now, there are times when you talk to somebody and you're hoping to get something out of it. So if you're trying to persuade someone or you're asking for something, then you might ask, well, did it work? Did you get what you wanted? And so that's a part of prayer. Sometimes we ask. But we take this sort of small area thing and we tend to enlarge it. So imagine if, Nathan's not here, so we'll pick on him. Imagine my son Nathan came to me and asked me for something, and my response is, no. Got it? So he says, hey Dad, can we do this? And I say no. And imagine Nathan going, well, this talking thing doesn't work. I don't even know why I bother talking at all. Right? That's just like ridiculous, and like some people will do that. I asked God for something, it didn't happen, it doesn't even work. I don't know, why do I bother talking to God? You see how ridiculous that kind of is? Does God give us everything we ask for? You probably know this. He doesn't. Actually, it's interesting if we even think that He should. Don't you think? And yet, I think sometimes we're tempted to think God should give us everything we ask for, but He doesn't. I'm sure your parents don't give you everything you ask for, right? Because that's just kind of how it goes. And yet sometimes you get angry when you don't get what you want. Probably, you know what I find most kids don't do is you probably don't question your parents' love or their goodness just because you don't get what you want. Are you with me?
Good one.
Because you can balance it out with all the things, hopefully, that your parents do, and you can realize, you know what? Even here, I asked for something and they said no, and I don't get it. I don't understand. Maybe even you totally disagree. But probably what you can accept is they probably made the decision because they thought that's what was going to be best. Either best for you, best for the family. And so as much as you might be angry, you don't like the decision, I don't agree, if I were the parent and I had a kid, I'm going to let them do that, whatever the case may be, but you can probably still say, well, they probably think it's best. Well, listen to this, and listen carefully. God doesn't do anything that He thinks is the best. Let me hear it again in case you think, wait, did I hear that right? God doesn't do anything that He thinks is the best. God does what is best, 100% of the time. So even me, I'm flawed as a parent, and so there's probably times where I'm wrong. So when Nathan says, hey Dad, we should sell the minivan and get a Mustang, and I'm like, no. Maybe I'm wrong. Or when Jeremy says, hey Dad, can we do grilled cheese sandwiches every night this week? And I'll say, no. Maybe I'm wrong. But God is never wrong. He is never wrong. And what is that we really should be asking God for? Should we be asking Him to do what's best for us? Or what's best for God and for His glory? Should we really be asking what's best for us? Or should we be asking Him what's best for God, for His glory and His kingdom? Which, by the way, is what I think Jesus meant when He says, ask in my name. If you ask in my name, you're probably going to get what you want. Because asking in my name is you thinking about, wait, what's good for God's kingdom? What's good for God's glory? And God, that's what I want. I want your glory. I want your kingdom. I want you to look good. I want your reputation to be good. I want what you want. James 4 says, you know what, you don't have because you don't ask. And when you ask, you don't get it because you ask with wrong motives. You're just thinking about, sort of selfish, what do I want kinds of things. How about this? Some people do this with prayer. Let me take you back to, they sort of, because God doesn't answer prayer and doesn't seem like it works, so they deny His existence. That's brilliant. Can you imagine Nathan? We'll pick on him again since he's not here. Can you imagine Nathan saying, I've been asking for a Mustang since I was 6. And we haven't gotten a Mustang yet. Not yet. We haven't even gotten a cool car. Oh, we've had our minivans. And so his conclusion is, you know what this means? Obviously, my dad doesn't exist. That's what it means. It's just kind of ridiculous, actually. You know, prayer's a little bit like a guy in a boat. Picture a guy who's out sailing in a boat, and he's close to land, and so he throws out this rope hook. You know, this rope with a big hook on it, and he throws it all the way onto land, and he begins pulling, right? And his intention is what? To draw himself into land, right? And so he's pulling. Can you picture it? Well, how stupid is it if his intention is to throw his hook on land and think he's going to start pulling the land to himself, right? And really, that's a lot like what prayer is supposed to be. And that's this part. Prayer is a conversation in which we express our love and need for God. Why? To draw ourselves to God. It's God, teach me what it is you want me to know. Yeah, you can ask, you can request, you can be honest, you can pour out your heart before Him, you can tell Him, God, this stinks, I don't like this, I don't know why you're not doing this, can you please do this? But for you to think, God, I'm going to pull Him into my kingdom and have Him change everything that I want to change is like that guy thinking he's going to throw his hook and pull the land into him. It's not going to happen. God has no interest in that whatsoever. What you want to do is pray and throw your hook out, and you can do all those things. God, I don't understand this. This is what I really would like to happen. Can you please explain this to me? Can you please do this? But what's happening is you are drawing yourself closer to God and try to understand why, or where are you, or what do you want me to learn in this situation? That's prayer. It's a conversation with God where you get to express, I love you, and I need you, and I want to be closer with you. And so it comes back to, actually, guess what? If that's your definition of prayer, does prayer work?
Yes.
All the time. All the time prayer works. Because God is listening to you, and that's exactly the heart of God, is to pull you closer to Him. Now here's what I want you to do. Where are we at time-wise?
7 o'clock.
It's 7?
Yes.
Alright, we're going to split up into 3 groups. Alright? And what I want you to do is I want you to go back to this passage that we read in Genesis 18. Got it? And I want you to sort of examine it and see if you can't figure out whether you think this was a good prayer or was this a bad prayer. And how does this kind of relate to that definition? I'm going to, excuse me, give you some questions to kind of flow through. So let's put...